Right. A pleasant evening, Dominican graduate students, and welcome to another international webinar series. Now, before we proceed with the program proper, I would like to ask for Dr. Satya Mandal's permission if we can record this video po. Thank you, Dr. Mandal. So let me just record this meeting first before we proceed with the program proper. Again, pleasant evening to everyone, and to formally commence our webinar this evening, let us put ourselves in the most holy presence of God as we watch and listen to the short opening prayer. Again, good evening, family fans. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of our psychology graduate students and our Dean and Program Lead for Psychology, Dr. Philip Cordova Quizon, as well as our speaker this evening, Dr. Satya Mandal. Now, with the adjustment to the new normal, our mental health care system sees the need and importance to strengthen not just the system itself, but also help the practitioners to grow as individuals with empathy. And this seminar will surely help us improve on that. And now, without further ado, I would like to call in Ms. Maristela Malquisedec to introduce our guest speaker for today.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I would like to introduce Dr. Satya Mandal, psychologist, PEMF therapist, mind therapist, neurotherapist, and CBT and NLP expert. So Dr. Satya has been in the field of mind-body medicine since a decade. He is an expert of pulse electromagnetic therapy for all chronic physical disease, low-field magnetic stimulation therapy for all mental disorders, mind therapy for all psychomatic issues, psychotherapy for all mental and behavioral conflicts, and energy medicine for all negative impacts. After completing his master journey in applied psychology and neurolinguistic programming, he started his services to help humanity in enhancing their self-healing power for a positive life through workshops, seminars, counselings, and trainings. But this couldn't give much satisfaction to serve better. So he aimed high in his research in complementary and alternative medicines to develop holistic therapies. For this, Dr. Satya studied many specializations and finally he adopted some highly effective therapy approaches like PEMF, NFBT, CBT, NLPT, and etc., which are giving highest satisfactions and improvement to the client suffering with different chronic physical and mental issues. With the whole knowledge of his decades of research, he developed one unique therapy, mind therapy, which is a combination of both psychology and complementary therapies. The prime specialty of this therapy is that client can use it by sitting at their home. He is also a motivational speaker, NLP master trainer, mind power expert, life coach, and educator. To increase awareness and enhance positive well-being in society is the only motto which kept him going more and more in this field. He is continuing his higher research in modern psychology as well as CAM for the advancement in mental health and physical health. He has been associated with many international organizations like APA, American Union of NLP, Complementary Therapist Accreditation Association, Natural Healing Academy, national organizations like Integrated Medicine Research Foundation in India, Alternative Medical Council in Odisha, psychologyindia.com to avail all the effective resources for the betterment of human being. He has been treating every type of chronic diseases and psychological disorders by his innovative therapies. Many people around the globe have got immense benefit from his therapy. His friendly gestures and warming personality have been a key for many clients. Again, let us all welcome Dr. Satya Mandal.
Thank you, Ms. Melqui. A very good evening to everyone. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir. Audible,
Okay.
loud and clear.
Okay, then kindly switch on the presenting mode. So, welcome all the uh, young minds and budding minds to this very interesting webinar, How to Grow as a Mental Health Professional. You are already studying in Master of Psychology. So you should know what are the options, how you can integrate with your current professions so that you can individually grow as a mental health profession and also you can give some helping hands to your society and to your country. So before that, I would like to convey all my hearty gratitudes to all the coordinators and organizations of ST Dupinic College of Asia. Before starting our topic, let's check some world scenarios about the mental health issues because you should know, you should aware about all the scenarios around the globe regarding mental health awareness. The first thing is, according to World Data 2018, लगभग 970 millions people worldwide have some kinds of mental disorder. The next thing is, it affects more females than males and its percentage is 11.9% compared to the male 9.3%. The next thing is, the people suffering with mental disorders are having the life expectancy less than at least 10 years. And also another fact is 8 million deaths each year by due to only mental disorders. So you can think the current statistics because these are the data of 2015 and 2018. Now we are in 2021. So add some millions numbers into these scenarios because nowadays more than 80% populations are suffering with some kind of mental health issues. If we categorize all these things, then we can see that anxiety affects approximately 284 million people worldwide, depression 264 million people worldwide, alcohol disorder 107 millions, drugs addicted 71 million, bipolar disorder 46 millions, schizophrenia that is 20 million, eating disorder 16 million, and the list goes on. We cannot exactly count and measure how much population are affected, what is the percentage of affected regarding the psychological disorders. So that's the problem. And the most important thing is no country's government system has exact appropriate data of mental disorders. That's one big problem on the whole world. Now the question is why mental health is on the alarming state today. Despite of adopting many approaches, many healthy, happy habits, we are on the high rise of mental health issues. You can find out some of the reasons like lack of awareness. Yes, people are still have no knowledge what to do and whom to visit after affecting some types of some kinds of mental disorder. There is a very vast lack of awareness regarding mental health issues in every corner, every part of our society. Next part is societal stigma. Yes, This is a very big problem. We all have social stigma. If we visit a psychiatrist or psychologist or clinical psychotherapist, then people, my neighbors, my family members, my relatives will say, what? I am a mental. I am affected with mental disorder means I am a mental. That's a main social stigma which is in the corner of every mindset of our people. Next point is a lack of mental health professionals. Yes, we have a vast need of mental health professional. Next point is mental health education. Yes, there is a very vast scope of mental health education, but in our mainstream education, there is a lack of syllabus, lack of, even if we must have mental health education from the primary level, but this is unfortunate. Our system is not adopting this fact that mental health education is so important compared to the mainstream education. Next part is mainstream health and mainstream health education, mainstream health treatment system, a medical system, and our mental health medical system. In many countries, almost all countries have lacked the coordination between mainstream medical system and our psychological or mental health medical system. And why I am talking about this, I will cover it in the later slide. So let's focus on the things, on the themes which we are discussing today, how to grow as a mental health professional. Now the question is, who is a mental health professional and how I can find a right mental health professionals for my problem? That's the big question. Let's see some World Health Organization's data regarding the lack of mental health force in all over the world. According to WHO, in low countries, in low income countries, per 1 lakh population, there are 2 mental health professionals available. Just think, for 1 lakh population, and if you Google some data regarding how much affected the population is, you can find almost in every country, 1 in 4, 1 in 5, 1 in 7, 1 in 2 people are affected with some kind of mental disorders. But it's very unfortunate that in low income countries, we have only 2 mental health experts, a mental health professional per 1 lakh population. So you can just imagine the scenario where more than 10,000 or 20,000 or 40,000 people are affected, and how 2 mental health professionals can handle effectively to 10,000 or more than 10,000 population with suffering with severe mental disorder or some kinds of mental health problem. It is more than 70 in high income countries. Yes, we have some data regarding the developed countries. We have 70 mental health professional per 1 lakh population. But I think what we are facing today, what is the current statistics regarding the mental health problems? 70 is not a big figure. Next, this is the data of WHO, but this is very contrasting to the real data. According to WHO, 1 in every 10%, but that is not the right figure. You can just keep your eyes in your society, in your country, in your state. You can find out 1 in every 4 to 5 people are affected with some kind of mental disorders. So this is a very alarming state today, and the main big factor is we are lacking our mental health force. So, according to WHO data, less than half of the 139 countries which are associated with, which are the part of WHO, they are adopting some form of mental health education modernization. Means they are strengthening their mental health education system, mental health treatment system. But it also a big problem, it has also a big problem that adopting this system and integrating this system with the modern medical system is a very big issue. Why it is a big issue? We will talk it in the next slide. Now the question is, as a mental health professional, because you are all the upcoming mental health professional, you are going on the right track because society needs you very much. So, what are the challenges you will face on your upcoming path, upcoming journey on the mental health issues or mental health professional as a career? What are the challenges, what are the obstacles you will face very soon? Because what we are facing today, that you will also find in some of the day in your practicing journey. That first question is a legal complication. Many countries, many legal authorities to control, to integrate, to approve your mental health professional education. So it depends on country to country what are the legal complications you will face. You as a mental health professional, first remember that all the ethics according to your country, how you can practice individually, how can you practice in a clinical setup, in a hospital setup, what are the ethics you should follow, you must have to follow that. This is the first legal complication. The next thing is when any patient visit you, when any mental health issues comes to you, you should handle it according to your ethics. If you handle that situation, individual cases according to your ethics, then you may not find any difficulties in any part of your life, in any part of your professional journey. But if you make some mistakes, if you neglect your ethics according to your country's rules or legal implementation, you will face somewhere a very big issue in your career journey, in your professional journey. So, first thing you should keep in your mind that what are the legal options, legal implementations in your country according to your profession, because there are variety of professions in psychology we will discuss today's webinar. Next, variation between professional and patient. It is not always possible that a patient who visits you will be abide all your implementation, abide all your viewpoints, because our viewpoint as a mental health professional and the patient's viewpoint always construct. So we have to coordinate, because there is a age gap, there is a culture gap, there is a thinking gap, there is a growing up gap. So everyone has individual perceptions. We cannot deny their perceptions because they are right, they are perfect on their place. As a mental health professional, our perception is different. When we consult or we counsel the patients, we may find difficulties, we may find different gaps. But the first thing, as a mental health professional, you should know about that, you should integrate, you should cooperate, you should rapport with that patient. If he is a small kid, then go beyond your age. If his or her culture is different, then go to her culture. Don't jump. Do not take your perception, override the perception of the patient. Go beyond your perception, go beyond your perception, your age, your ethics, your culture, and judge that person individually according to his or her viewpoint, according to his or her perception. That a mental health professional, effective mental health professional must be incorporated. Next thing is a new spectrum of patients. The testing methods, the descriptions about the diseases which you are studying in your study curriculum may not always be helpful in your practicing career. When you will grow in your professional career as a mental health professional, you will find different symptoms, different new era of psychological disorders. So to handle this effectively, you must be updated day by day. You must read many new upcomings development on the field of mental health. Then only you can able to be handle the patients and every type of disorders effectively. That is the main problem, because people are affecting their life in different situations, like international migratory, temporary immigrants, war victims, torture victims. These are the scenarios which have devastated their emotional and mental strength. And maybe these are not in your curriculum. These are not according to the DSM 5 or DSM 6. But you have to, as a mental health professional, when a patient seeks your advice, your help, you must be ready to help. So keep updated to handle new spectrum of patients. Assessment and testing methods. This is a very important and vital point. As you will grow as a mental health professional, you will feel that testing methods, the hour of hard work you are doing on your lab, may be effective or not effective in your professional career when you will start your practice. Because the assessment and testing methods which you are studying in your study curriculum are many years ago developed. And still we are practicing, we are spending hours of hour in our psychological labs in assessing and testing the disorders. But think, day by day, the perception, the thoughts, the belief system, the mindset of people are changing. The thing which are developed 20 years before, which are developed 30, 40, 50 years before, can be effective in 2021? Never. This is a very big problem, because the Western tools and techniques may not be helpful in your upcoming mental health journey. So do not depend always on the assessment and testing methods. This is the very vital point for upcoming psychological disorders. Next challenge is treatment must have positive resources. This is a very big point, because whatever the treatment option available till today, we are in 2021, and we will analysis very deeply in today's webinar that what are the treatment options available in mental health with the mental health professionals. We all know about that. We all are aware about that. What are the treatment options available with us according to our conventional and mainstream mental health education system? That is very devastating, because they will not help you in a long-term journey, and they will also not help you in totally recovering a patient, mental health patient 100%. Because our treatment process, our treatment system and our treatment methods, whatever available with us, are somewhere lack regarding the positive resources. So we need to integrate our psychological treatment, our mental health care systems with some positive resources. That is a very big and vital points. Next, prevention. We talked about the social stigma. We talked about the lack of awareness. Due to this, we cannot prevent the mental health problems. The rising scenario, the increasing rate which you are seeing today, you are seeing in your family, you are seeing in your society, is very devastating to all of us, because we are adapting many ways. We are changing our lifestyle, we are changing our diet plan, we are doing yoga, you are doing about the exercises, we are doing morning work. We are very conscious about our health during since 2-3 years back. But till we are not able to control 0.1% of mental disorders, and it is increasing, just increasing with high speed. So somewhere, in some way, we are lacking. We are missing something. The main issue is we are missing something. We cannot prevent that, because when any mental health problem starts within an individual, he or she is not aware. First thing, he or she is not aware about any mental health issues. Just like, let me explain with an example. You are feeling irritated, you are feeling frustrated, your anger level is becoming a habitual anger level. You are angry, you are getting irritated on small things. So your family member, even if you also think that this is a normal things, everyone has anger issue, everyone has irritation issue, everyone get frustrated easily. Yes, you are true, but you should be aware about your level of irritation, your level of anger, what amount of hyperness you are creating. You should be aware about that. If you feel that this is out of my control, then you need immediate consultancy, immediate counseling. But what we are doing, we are taking this is just a symptoms. It will go a natural way. When the time goes and we become more and more frustrated, we become more and more irritated, then the time comes to consult a psychologist, a psychiatrist. But then social stigma is a barrier for that time. First thing, we have no knowledge about that, so we are lacking awareness. We don't know about the mental health issues. We just think that these symptoms are natural. When we know that these are not natural, then our societal stigma comes into role. Due to societal stigma, we again delay our consulting, we again delay our counseling session. We always hesitate to visit a mental health professional. What the society will think, what my friends will think, what they will tell, what my family will think. And when the time comes, when you visit a psychologist or psychiatrist or a mental health professional, the time is very late. Then you talk to a psychiatrist or psychologist, sir, please recover me, please get me well soon. How it's possible? We can prevent that. We could take the steps very earlier. So these are the scenarios which you will face very soon as you will grow as a mental health professional, because always in mental health cases, the primary stage, the secondary stage, we can control very effectively and with 100% satisfaction. But when the time passes away, it is very late to deal with them. So here, the key problems are research and training. There is a vast need of research and training all over the world regarding the mental health issues. Next is governmental unwillingness. I have researched about many countries' government system. Almost 99% countries have no particular system, no organized and synchronized mental health system. That is a very devastating scenario. Next thing is collaboration. We will discuss it in a very broad way. That is, what is collaboration? We need collaboration in mental health professional very much. So there is a lack of collaboration. And the next point is the mainstream mental health education. We will discuss on the second part. Let us discuss about that. Who is called a mental health professional? Because this is a very debating topic. People think that reading or studying psychology degree and getting the license from a governing psychology body, we call ourselves as a mental health professionals. So what the definition actually is? Take a look. A mental health professional is a healthcare practitioner or social or human service provider who offers services for the purpose of improving an individual's mental health or to treat mental disorders. That means mental health professional is a very broad term. You are not as a psychology background professionals, you are only the mental health professionals. Yes, if you are studying psychiatrist, then you are a mental health professional. Then next part is clinical psychologist, yes. Next is psychologist, yes. Next, life coaches. These are very high demand in today's time because they are enhancing the people's life. And when we are comparing between the life coaches, between the meditation expert, between the spiritual healers, between the therapist, with the clinical psychologist and the psychiatrist, we are always comparing in many countries and many debatable topics I have participated. Always there is a question mark that life coaches, meditation expert, spiritual healers, या mind therapist या mental therapist are not as a mental health professionals because there is no designated degree, there is no mainstream education in our mainstream education system regarding the life coaches, regarding the meditation expertise, regarding the spiritual healing, regarding the mental health therapist. So we think that studying psychology, related to psychological field, that may be counseling psychology, that may be organizational psychology, that may be child psychology, that may be clinical psychology, or that may be psychiatry. We can be called ourselves as a mental health professional. That's wrong. The person who can change others' lifestyle, others' mindset is enhancing in many ways. So, compared to psychologists, compared to counselors, people are preparing to visit a life coaches, to visit a motivational speaker. People are listening to spiritual speakers. As a psychological profession, you start giving speeches on YouTube or Facebook or any social media. People will hesitate to listen to your talk. At the same time, if a life coaches, if a spiritual healer is giving some message to the society, people are preparing. So there is a very big debatable issues here. You should know about that. Next, let's talk about mainstream mental health education system, and to our theme today, what are the options we have? The first thing is psychiatrist. Okay, who can be called as psychiatrist? A psychiatrist is a physician. Yes, they should have the formal medical background, and after that, they have the degree of psychiatry. They can study, they can test, they can assess, and they can prescribe the medicine for mental disorders. Okay, but till today, there is less than 10 to 20% possibility that medicines are working, because in many cases, psychiatric medicines are failing. The reason is here. What are the root causes of psychological disorders or mental disorders? The first thing is, you say it may be genetic, okay? In many cases, it may be accidental. After a brain injury or brain damage, any severe accident, you will face some type of mental disorders, okay? It may be addiction due to overdose of medicines, due to overdose of chemicals. Next part is, it may be emotional trauma. Next is, maybe your wrong thought pattern, your overthinking process, your suicidal limiting beliefs. So think about that. What are the cases? What are the percentage? In our society, in our day-to-day life, we are seeing that more than 80 to 90% psychological disorders are creating due to emotional trauma or wrong thought pattern. Not the genetics, not the accidental, not the overdose of chemicals. The percentage is only 10 to 20%. And allopathic systems, the psychiatric medicines are only effective in case of accident, genetic and drugs. The question comes to your mind, then why we are taking the allopathic systems medicines, yes, like antipsychotic drugs, yeah, antidepressant drugs? Yes, in 80 to 90% case, what we are discussing, what we are discussed the earlier side, the prevention method. On that slide, I already noted some point. I already discussed about some point. If it is in stage 1 or stage 2, we can effectively handle without medication. If it is in stage 3, then we must adopt some form of medications, but to a limited period of time. I am not here denying the effectiveness or use of allopathic medicines or antipsychotic drugs. Yes, we need it, but how much percentage? Consider a depression patient with 15 or 20 years in medication process. Can he or she recovered fully with the medications? In my 10 years of journey in psychological disorders and psychological treatment, I have never seen any 1% fully recover with the allopathic systems. Yes, at the last moment after treating 5 to 10 years, the psychiatrist will adopt, the psychiatrist will recommend them to go to a psychotherapist or meditation expert or mindfulness practice or CBT expert. Why it's not the earlier stage? We can prevent it very effectively, but that is a problem. Next part is clinical psychologist. So that means the mainstream education, in mainstream education, what are the main mental health professional? Number 1 is psychiatrist. They can test, they can assess, and they can implement or prescribe the medications. Next category is clinical psychologist. Maybe most of the students are clinical psychology background. So in clinical psychology, what are the options? You can test, you can assess the disorders. Okay, let's when you are you will start practice. A patient come, you test by your some assessing method or testing tools, and you find that is schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. Then what are the treatment options? Because we must always focus on the solution rather than the problems. So if a patient, you find that he or she is affected with schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, then what are the treatment options you are studying now? What are the treatment options you are studying according to your curriculum? That's a big issue. What you are studying? CBT. Yes, I think in your curriculum also, because when I was studying MSc Master in Clinical Psychology, CBT was part of my curriculum. So I don't know what are your curriculum, but CBT must be there. Yes, cognitive behavior therapy is a very effective approach. Very, very effective approach. REBT, rational emotive behavior therapy, yes, it's also very effective. Psychotherapy, yes, it's every psychologist should integrate, every psychologist should practice psychotherapy. Any other option? Yeah, you ask yourself, with CBT, with REBT, with psychotherapy, will you 100% give assurance to that patient that you will recover bipolar disorder, you will recover the schizophrenia, you will recover the severe anxiety disorder, or nervous or panic attack? Ask yourself. Because you are in final year students, almost all your curriculum you have been completed. Ask yourself, what are the therapies, what are the solution methods you have learned till now? And as a practitioner, as a mental health professional, what are the options? As a clinical psychologist, what are the options you have? Because as a clinical psychologist, you cannot prescribe any medications. So the options are CBT, REBT, psychotherapy. Any other option? Yes, let's explore that. Next, psychologist. What are the options and what is psychologist? You all know what are the difference between clinical psychologist and a psychologist. Clinical psychologist has the advantages of assessing and testing methods, but which the psychologist has not. In many countries, psychologists are not permitted to assess to the assessing and testing method. But yes, they can counsel, they can provide some therapy, they can also adopt psychotherapy. Okay, what are the options available for a psychologist: counseling therapy or psychotherapy. These two therapy, with these two therapy, can you handle any mental patient, any mental disorder patient? Yes, counseling या psychotherapy may be effective to some extent if the person is in level 1 or level 2 stage. Level 2, in level 2 these are not also effective. In level 1, yes, definitely counseling therapy will work. But in today's time, when we are in 2021, we all adopt ourselves as very knowledgeable, because people come here to my clinic and advise me that, and before my consulting, before my question, they told me that, sir, I am affected with OCD, sir, I am suffering from schizophrenia, sir, I am suffering from bipolar. I generally ask the question, first question, who told you that you are affected with schizophrenia, you are affected with bipolar disorder? Who told that? Sir, Google says that. We search from YouTube based on our symptoms. Just think that. People call themselves as knowledgeable and they know everything. So in that case, counseling. Recently one young girl come to me and she was suffering with severe depression, high depression, due to some career issue and due to some relationship issue. And she is asking me that, sir, in counseling, what will be the benefit of counseling? You will talk some positive words, you will give me some advice, but I know all the things. How can she judge that a counselor will give some advice only? So these are the things you will face very soon, because every people think that they know everything. So only counseling therapy, I do not think it will work or it will help you in any way. So these are the options in mainstream education. That means a psychiatrist cannot handle effectively or cannot cure 100% to a psychological disorder. A clinical psychologist also cannot cure a patient 100%, and a psychologist also cannot cure. So what is one solution? I have mentioned the collaborative approach. Yes, if our health treatment, जो modern treatment system will integrate these three professions into one categories. That means to treat a mental health patient effectively and 100% with guarantee, in one team, we must have a clinical psychologist, we must have a effective counseling psychologist, a psychotherapist, we must have a psychiatrist. Depending on the patient situation, depending on the patient scenario, these three professions must integrate their therapeutic approaches, their learning skills to treat that person. Then only we can recover that patient 100% with full satisfaction. Otherwise, it's a imaginary word. It's impossible. You cannot, as a psychiatrist, only cannot even cure or even more effective, more than 50% effectiveness is not given by any medication. I have treated many patients, and as a clinical psychologist, you cannot handle any severe patient. You must recommend to the psychiatrist, and as a counseling psychologist, level 1 only you can effectively handle level 1. As a clinical psychologist, you may able to handle level 2. When level 3, it must be for the medication. So if every country has a system to treat all the mental disorder patients or mental health problems with a collaborative approach with psychiatrists, mental health professionals, yoga expert, meditation experts, then only it will work fine. But unfortunate, hope for the best, because you are the young and budding minds, you may integrate it in your team with the collaborative approach to help a patient, because patient's life, human life is very precious. So you think that. Now the question is, how to grow as a mental health professional. Till the time in our webinar, we have discussed many themes, many problems, many the government systems loopholes. Now let that loopholes, because we as an individual cannot tell the government to what to do. But as an individual, as a mental health professional, if you are willing to work for the society, if you are willing to work for the benefits of the people, then you have many options. Yes, that's the main motto of this webinar. As an individual practitioner, how you can grow, what are the options you can explore effectively to handle any type of mental disorders and with 100% assurance to a patient. Let's take a look. Mainstream therapies, what you can adopt if it's not in your syllabus, it's not in detail in your syllabus, that is CBT. Yes, as a psychologist, as a psychological profession, you must integrate this. You must know about this. If it's in your syllabus, then after completing your master journey, you should do any diploma or certification course from the top institute of all over the world. Yes, REBT, that's very effective. If it's not in your syllabus, then go for it. Psychotherapy, you must know about that. DBT, yes, it's also effective. Family therapy, yes, it's also effective. ACT, acceptance and commitment therapy, yes, it is also effective. And it is a part of CBT, you can integrate with that and counseling. If these are, see, whatever we are studying in our study curriculum and in our student curriculum, in our master degree or bachelor degree syllabuses, that's not the very big issue. Because when you will start practice, when you will go to the practical field, you will find different things which are beyond your scope, which are beyond your learnings. So, before that, you should choose what you are going to do. After completing your master journey, you fix your goal that I will practice this section. So, integrated that types of therapies into your practices. So, these are the mainstream therapies which are available in your syllabus and available in many training organizations. What I am talking, because I am not interested to talk about or give any information about the mainstream education, because that are all available to you. What I am talking, besides CBT, REBT, DBT, ACT, any other options you can integrate? Yes, definitely. The very effective nowadays, that is art therapy. You can integrate that. Dance therapy, yes, this is very effective for your dealing with the psychological issues. Yes, music therapy, that is also effective. Mindfulness, this is a very big keyword in social media today, because in maximum developed countries like London, like USA, they are integrating mindfulness, and also in India, in my country also, mindfulness is a very big term nowadays. But that is this is nothing about the one newer version of your meditation. Yes, yoga therapy, meditation therapy, emotional freedom technique, yes, that is also very powerful. Nutrition and diet therapy. These are the traditional therapies you can adopt if you want to grow as a successful mental health professional. You can adopt art therapy, you can learn about that, you can do certification courses, you can do online trainings regarding dance therapy, regarding music therapy, regarding mindfulness, regarding emotional freedom technique, regarding meditation therapy, yoga therapy. There are very vast scope in these areas, and when you will integrate it in your practice with CBT or DBT or REBT, with the mindfulness, meditation therapy, EFT, emotional freedom technique, you will see miraculous result. I have adopted many of these techniques, and I have been giving training in these areas, especially emotional freedom technique, mindfulness, meditation therapy, music therapy. I am giving training since many years to many psychologists, many mental health professionals, many trainers, and they are integrating, and day by day they are getting miraculous result. So you can integrate with your practices to enhance your professional capabilities. Here the question is these options are sufficient? What Dr. Satya is talking about, these are the only options? Never. What I am talking about is something beyond your imagination. Yes, some effective therapeutic approaches. In a world, in a global scenario today, this word you may have heard, NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Yes, many psychiatrists, many psychologists call it a pseudoscience. But this is nothing, this is the part of CBT, and CBT could not be a pseudoscience. This is the part of CBT, that is derived version of CBT we can say. If you analyze, if you go depth in the NLP field, you will find that these are the related field related themes of CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, because the meta model, which is the main part of the NLP science, is nothing but the cognitive distribution, which are derived from cognitive behavior therapy. Then how it can be pseudoscience? And I have been master of NLP since many years. This is the very effective science which you can integrate with your practice. If you go through that NLP, you will find miraculous counseling result. You can directly affect someone's mind. Next, hypnotherapy, you may heard about that, about the clinical hypnotherapy. This is a very powerful technique which are very effective for in case of panic attack, in case of phobia blockages, in case of depression, in case of emotional shocks or trauma. Next is brain wave therapy. I don't know how many students know about this. I will explain in details. Next is neurofeedback. I think that this is also a new term. Maybe you heard about that. Next is base flower. Next is LFMS, low field magnetic stimulation therapy. Next is mind body medicine. What the theme of the total webinar is this slide. Listen carefully what I am telling about in the next 4 to 5 slides, because these are the therapies which are scientifically proven techniques and getting familiar and demand in day by day, especially in German, especially in London, Russia, USA. Neurofeedback, base flower, LFMS, brainwave therapy, NLP, mind body medicine. These are the most favorable topics and most favorable approaches nowadays in top psychological and psychiatrist hospitals. Even if American Psychological Association, who is governing body of all over the psychological association of all the world, APA is adopting the base flower, the neurofeedback, the mind body medicine concept since many years and promoting. The main thing is, if you go through the APA website and APA membership, if you will take their membership, you will get free CE credit for the complementary therapies which are mind body medicines. Because the governing body of APA knows very well that whatever the DSM-5 or DSM-6 manual, what are the medications they are recommending for the psychological disorders that are not effective as they think before. So this is the time to integrate some effective and scientifically proven approaches. And what I am describing here is all scientifically proven, and you will find numerous results. Let's talk about neuro-linguistic programming. You know that this is a neuro-linguistic programming means this is a mind power science. This is relating to something beyond your imagination, beyond your thinking, that our subconscious level, how our subconscious level works, how our subconscious level could be modified, could be reprogrammed for our benefits. That is the main theme of NLP. And using these tools, many life coaches has transformed lakhs of people's life. And as a psychologist, as a psychological profession, if you will not integrate about that and do complaining about how life coaches, how NLP trainer are training thousands of people and collecting thousands of money, because they are giving the value, they are by using their tools, people's life are enhancing. So what is the problem? What is the big deal? There is no problem. There is no big deal. If you can integrate, if you can enhance people's lives, that's good. It may be your mainstream education system, it may be your training. Next part is neurofeedback. Yes, it is a device based. That is a training based, it is a device based. Neurofeedback devices are very powerful, and these are capable to handle effectively for these problems. It may be ADD, it may be ADHD, it may be anxiety, autism, bipolar, brain injury, many things. I have been integrated this science, and these devices are in my lab, available since many years, and I have seen miraculous result with severe depression, severe anxiety, severe panic attack, nervousness, ADHD, schizophrenia, bipolar. In these cases, these devices are very effectively working, and these are very popular in Canada and London. Next is batch flower. Yes, this is one area you should integrate, and you must know about that. What is batch flower? You may have heard about batch flower. There are some specific flower extract, that is total of 38 flower extract, which can be used to treat any type of emotional and psychological issues. I have been using batch flower since many years, and people suffering with severe depression, severe insomnia, and taking daily 2 to 3 sleeping pills stops from the day 1 after using the batch flower. And they are getting day by day better and better results. So they are feeling better, which they could not get from the psychotic drugs, which could not they could not feel when they are medication since many years. So if anything works within 1-2 days, then think about that, which could not be given by the medication since many years. So batch flower is that much of effective, and there are 38 list of batch flower which are used for different problems. Next, clinical hypnosis. Yes, this is also a training method. This is not a device based or any medications. This is a batch flower, because neurofeedback is a device based. Batch flower is a natural medication process, but clinical hypnosis and NLP are training processes. Yes, using clinical hypnosis, you will get effective result specifically in emotional trauma, emotional shock, psychic attack, panic attack, nervousness. These are effectively handled by the hypnotherapy. Next, brainwave therapy. Brainwave therapy is very effective. This is the form of sound. This is the form of, you can call it as a part of music therapy, but this is not music. There are different levels of brain waves which are always working in a human brain. To stimulate and to alter these states between delta to theta, theta to alpha, alpha to beta, or gamma to beta, to alter in between these states, one thing we can do, that we can apply neurofeedback or we can apply brainwave. If you can integrate brainwave therapy, then you can easily alter between these states. And why it is, I am telling this, what it has the link between the psychological disorders and with the brainwave stimulation. Yes, when our brainwave stimulation is not synchronized, in maximum medication cases, overdose of allopathic medicines, in accidental cases, in emotional shock cases, our brainwave alters. It's nothing. In psychiatrist, biological system, they called it that neurotransmitter influences, neurotransmitter imbalances. That may be dopamine, that may be serotonin, that may be GABA, that may be ACT. But what the main root, that is our brainwave alteration. If you stimulate the brainwave correctly with any device or any medications, then you can get a stable state of that patient. So brainwave stimulation and brainwave therapy is an effective approaches which can be adopted with your practice. Next is low field transcranial magnetic stimulation, which is I am calling it LFMS, which I have in my lab. It is a very powerful technique. It's getting high demand in German specifically, and I have ordered the device from German directly, and I have practicing. I have using it many years, since 3 years, and I have seen many miraculous results in schizophrenia, bipolar disorders, and brain palsy, brain hemorrhage. In these cases, because it will directly stimulate the brain cells, you can read the description here. This technique has been applied to an increased area of electrical activity in the auditory area of the brain, that is auditory cortex. The passage of electric current very fast along the coil is capable of creating an electromagnetic field which passes through the skull without resistance. That means we can directly stimulate our auditory cortex part. So think about that. CBT, RABT, counseling, whatever the approaches you will adopt, you have the manual method. But people are not preferring any manual method, because in many cases they will hesitate to listen your words, because they think that they know everything. What will give them extra? I know this, sir. So think about that. This is the device and how it works. Next part is mind body medicine. Yes, in our whole medical science, we do not think about the mind body. Just answer me one question. When a man is made, generally general public, doctor call the brain is damaged. Which is the right things? The brain is damaged or mind is damaged? The made people, because brain is the hardware is fixed, and the problem is in software, that is mind is damaged, mind is out. When the mind is out, we call the people as a made. Then why in medical system, when modern medicine system, we are not integrating the mind part? That's the problem. Many doctors, many scientists called keep positive thinking. Thinking where? In mind or brain? So this is the very big question and an interesting question. I cannot understand in my a very hard research journey in my life since 10 years. In 2009, I have started my psychological journey and mental health journey, and I am also a mind power expert and mind therapist, because I have studied in many specialization regarding mind body connection, and which nowadays in 2020, American Psychological Association and the National Institute of Health, which is the governing body of USA Health Department, both the organization integrates the mind body medicine concept. So you can integrate the mind body method. Now the question is, whatever the effective approaches I have discussed, the first one is NLP, is a training method. Hypnosis, yes, it is a training method. Device method, neurofeedback is a device method. LFMS is a device method. Brainwave therapy is a device method. And mind body medicine is a collective approach. It integrates both device method and training method. And the last one is batch flower, which is a natural and most effective remedies. You can try once. You can integrate. This has no side effect. The most important thing of batch flower is no side effect. I can see the batch flower collection of my lab, because my assistant is not available today. Otherwise, I can show you the whole of my lab setup of LFMS. These are the batch flower therapies, and these are extracted from some natural flowers, and these are very effective. You can try by googling yourself. If your problem is something you are suffering with mental stress or sleep disorder, you can try once. Without any side effect, you can effectively handle any psychological disorder with batch flower therapy. If it is accidental case, if it is any overdose of chemical case, if it is very severe level 3 cases of schizophrenia, bipolar, yeah, depression disorder, yeah, anything you can categorize. You can go for LFMS, you can go for neurofeedback, you can adopt binaural, yeah, brainwave implementation. So mental health is a continuous journey, not a destination. You cannot stop after a master journey, you cannot stop learning after a PhD. You have to continue your learning, you have to integrate, you have to keep yourself updated regarding what are the development, what are the effective treatment methods day by day developing, because mental health is a very big concern for all the scientists all over the world. So new technologies, the thing I have covered here, the neurofeedback therapy, the LFMS therapy are totally new to many health professionals. They even don't know. Whatever the training, whatever the courses, whatever the curriculum I have discussed here, you can connect with me if you want to get training, get courses, get these devices for your personal practices with a licensure, with certified courses regarding mindfulness, neurofeedback, LFMS. I have been providing these trainings since many years. You can get with that and you can visit this website, you can get all the information regarding how these devices, the devices you are seeing here, these devices, this part, this is the LFMS device which is in my lab. This is my lab image. This is the LFMS device. This is just like a helmet. You can put the patient's head and it will automatically set your frequency in the machine which is blinking here. You can get the result within few days. So you can follow me in Facebook, that is Train Your Mind. You can connect me with my professional network, that is Dr. Satya Mandal. You can search me in YouTube if possible. You can also subscribe that to get some information regarding the development, because I have been posting YouTube videos regarding mental health issues since many years, regarding all the updates and the problems. Or you can directly connect with me by WhatsApp with this number. Thank you. Now you can put your question.
All right. Thank you so much for that wonderful and very timely talk, Dr. Mandal. So now the floor is open for anyone who would like to ask their questions. You may use the raise hand toggle so that we can see who would like to who would like to ask their questions, or you may also use the chat box that we have. Dr. Mandal, we have one question. One of the students messaged me on Facebook. She would like to ask if we already have DSM-6, or is there a process of is there already an announcement on the process of releasing for DSM-6?
Again, can you repeat the question, ma'am?
The student was asking if there is already if there is the APA is in the process of releasing the newest version of DSM.
Yes, perhaps American Psychological Association recently released the DSM-5 previous year. You can adopt that. We are in touch of American Psychological Association Authority. They are also in process of the next DSM, because day by day psychological disorders are increasing, and the main problem is the symptoms, the variety of symptoms which we are discussing, which we have discussed in today's webinar, that are big problems for the development of statistics manual for psychological disorders. So day by day are changing, and currently DSM-5 is very effective.
What are the disadvantages or possible problems that the psychologists or practitioners face for teleconsultation?
During the pandemic?
Yes. No.
Definitely we are facing many problems during the pandemic, because maybe many countries have banned the and implement the lockdown and shutdown processes. So you cannot conduct the face-to-face counseling. But yes, for a psychological problem, telephonic online consultation is not effective, much more effective compared to the face-to-face counseling, because when the patient is in front of you, you can easily build a rapport with him or her, because you can study their body language, you can study their mood, you can keep eyes on their eye movement, what they are thinking, what their perception is. But when it's online and when it is out of your campus, out of your out of your coverage area, then that's a very big challenges, because we are not seeing the person, we are not knowing about the gesture, posture of that person, and how can we exactly tell what the mindset and what the condition is. So that's a very big challenges for every psychologist to conduct online or online counseling session instead of in front, a face-to-face conducting the session.
Thank you, Dr. Mandan. Dr. Mandan, do you think we can accommodate one more question?
Yes, ma'am.
We have one from Miss Lara. I would like to ask, what can you recommend for aspiring mental health professionals who are looking into starting or growing a career in other countries?
Thank you for the question, because international exposure is very much needed for a health professional, because every country has that very devastating scenario in mental health statistics. So no one country have any strong mental health education or mental health treatment system. So as an aspiring mental health professional, if you are wanting to, if you are looking for to work in other countries, first you should inquire about, you should search about the ethics and rules of other countries. Let's say for India, there is still now no specific governing bodies for counseling psychologists. If you have master degree and you have a psychological PhD degree, then you can start your own practice by incorporator registration or society registration. If you are clinical psychologist, then you should go for the Indian Clinical Psychological Association, that is RCI, and under RCI there are some MPhil courses or PG diploma courses. You have to complete that first, then you can be called as a clinical psychologist in India. So if you go to the London, there are some different, because there are PhDs compulsory in India, in London and USA, but that is somehow flexible in Canada. So before going to any country, first gain the knowledge and search about more and more what are the ethics, which I have covered in today's session. First know the ethics and the legal complication of that country and adopt the effective approaches to start your mental health career.
All right. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer that questions from our graduate students, Dr. Mandan. And to show our appreciation and gratitude, may we call in Ms. Kersha Inahi to present the citation of a certificate. Ms. Kersha, you're on mute po.
St. Dominic College of Asia from the Graduate School, Masters of Arts in Psychology, would like to present the Certificate of Appreciation awarded to Dr. Sachal Mandal for sharing your valuable time and expertise as a speaker in the MAP Psychology International Webinar Series entitled How to Grow as Mental Health Professional, given this 11th day of April 2021 at St. Dominic College of Asia, Bacoor City, Province of Cavite, Philippines. Signed by Dr. Philip Cordova Quizon, the Chair of Psychology Department and Dean for School of Arts, Science and Education, and Dr. Mary Nelly T. Roa, the Vice President for Academic Affairs.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kersha. And again, thank you so much, Dr. Mandan. And now, to formally close our webinar and give us his closing remarks, let us all welcome the Dean of the School of Arts, Sciences and Education and the Chair for the Psychology Programs, both undergraduate and graduate levels, Dr. Philip Cordova Quizon.
Hello, good evening. I'm sorry, I am very happy today. I'm not I'm very overwhelmed with the announcement. But anyhow, I'm not sure if this would be related to our webinar. But of course, I would like to thank our speaker, Dr. Mandal. Thank you so much for your time and for giving us an opportunity to listen with you. Hope that we can have more collaboration, not just with that webinar, but also with research. I will try to contact you personally so that we can collaborate. Okay, and of course, to my dear students from the Masters of Arts in Psychology, I'm so proud that even though you have that this is weekend Sunday, you still accommodate to be part in an academic virtual platform through webinars. And I hope that you will still continue your passion to become, of course, practicing psychology or psychologist in the future. The learnings that our speaker delivered earlier are very substantive, very applicable, and very timely. Hope that everyone is enjoyed with the webinar today. And of course, Ma'am Kim, thank you for initiating this webinar, for hosting this webinar as well. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Philip Erdo Watnison. And of course, congratulations on winning the research presentation.
Yes, out of
Okay.
320 researchers in 21 countries all over the world, it was announced just 5 minutes earlier that I won as the champion, or St. Dominic College of Asia through my research presentation, won as the champion in the video research presentation. My God, it's a very overwhelming award. This is my first international award, champion award, and I'm very happy. Okay, thank you, thank you.
Okay. All right, to formally close our webinar, and before we proceed with the picture taking with Dr. Mandal, again, thank you so much, Dr. Mandal, for accommodating us for this webinar. Let us sing the SDCA hymn.
That
Google Meet, may we ask everyone to please turn on their cameras for a short picture taking.
Hi guys.
Okay. First slide, first batch. You ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. All right. Okay, next batch, please. Okay, ready? 1. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay,
Thank
we're
you.
good po. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for attending this webinar. And of course, to our team and our speaker for today, Dr. Satya Mandal. You will see you guys again on the next webinar. Thank you and have a good day ahead.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Mandal.